Well, apparently we had a lot of interest online about our fire behavior artwork, so we're going to do a little video here to walk you through our situation. Due to the high heat and humidity this week, we had to cancel our live fire training burns, but we wanted to take advantage of this time to educate our firefighters on fire behavior. So what we have here is a simulated couch on fire in this room. The couch is involved. This is where the fire is starting. You can see the smoke going up and spreading out throughout the room. This would be really consistent with our training fires that we would do in our burn buildings with pallets and straw and burning that room and contents. What we've changed with this training is we've highlighted the heat. We've put a lot more effort on explaining how the fire dynamics work in the house beyond the actual fire room. So from now on, we'll just kind of take you through the training, take you through the house, and how we're going to apply our work to this new information to make our firefighters better and our civilians safer. Okay, here's where the real graffiti starts. If we had a well-involved fire room, a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 12 room, all that thermal energy that's being built up in this room is going to start to work its way out into the rest of the house. Once that heat and fire, everything comes pushing out of that room, it's going to hit this hallway and it's going to compress everything. This hallway is about 1/4 of the area and size of that room. So all that energy coming out into a smaller space is going to intensify it. You can see those high heat levels are dropped, and we have nearly untenable conditions for those civilian occupants all the way down to the ground. But we can improve that very quickly, and there is still potential for civilians to be alive in this hallway just with a little bit of lift at the ground level. Following the fire dynamics out of the room, all of that energy into the hallway. The hallway is essentially the barrel of the gun. All that energy's been compressed. It's focused right down that hallway. But as we get into this bigger space of the kitchen and the living room, all that energy can now start to lift because it has a lot more area to work with. You can see right out of the hallway we have that lift. You can see everything's moving up. We still have that extremely high temperature at the ceiling. It's running the ceiling. It's also starting to attack more of the ceiling. And then as we move over here, we get an even greater lift because the stairwell becomes the chimney to the second floor. A lot of that heat is now working its way up to that second floor. Those hot gases, that superheated air is now on its way to the second floor and those people that may be up there. This is why we must close our doors at night. Even a fire in a separate location of your house, all that energy is going up to those second floor bedrooms, so please close your doors before you go to bed. What we want to highlight here is all of this energy moving out, spreading out throughout the house. Also in these bigger areas, that hot smoke is coming in and mixed with a lot more fresh air and has the potential to start more fires or just create flashover or rollover conditions remote from that original fire location back in our bedroom. So taking the graffiti and putting it into context, we now have our scale out here. We're now taking that firefighter to the door. The firefighter is at the door. They encounter smoke at the doorknob level of this house. Now remember, the fire is in the back bedroom, but if our firefighters encounter smoke to the doorknob level at the front door, we have an issue. We have to start cooling this environment. A lot of us will think that we're firefighters, but we are actually heat fighters. We need to start cooling temperatures to where we can be in a survivable location. So from this front door, we look at all these temperatures. Civilian survival is dependent on getting the temperatures below about 100 degrees. Civilians can live in 100 to 300 degrees, but not for very long. It's a marginal atmosphere for them. We start to get respiratory tract damage and skin damage. We have to cool below 300 degrees if we want to ensure civilian survival. Firefighters can operate in conditions from that 300 to 600 degree range, but again, that's marginal for us. Our SCBA masks start to be compromised at about 500 degrees. Our hose lines can be compromised at 500 degrees. If we want to continue to operate in these scenarios, we have to drop those temperatures, cool that environment below 300 to 600 degrees and drop that down for us as well. When we think about being in environments ahead of us, at 600 to 900 degrees, our bunker gear will start to be degraded. Windows can start to fail, introducing more air and potentially wind into the fires. We have to cool out in front of us in these conditions where they're in that 600 to 900 degree range so we can get control of our environment as well. Finally, we have that 900 to 1100 degree range. It's near flashover. It's a completely untenable space for us as occupants, but it also really starts to erode the structure stability and convert that contents fire to that structure fire. At this level, all the contents of that structure are being involved and consumed, and it will start to take that small fire to a bigger fire attacking the structure. So we have to intervene on this level to get us back down to the contents and stop it from attacking the structure. So here is where the information now turns to application. We take the fire dynamic approach, we address all the temperatures, and we drive home to our firefighters that it's important for us to cool ahead of us, improving survivability for our occupants, improving firefighter safety, and reducing property damage. So let's take a look about how that works out. Okay, now we're actually going to apply all we've talked about with cooling the environments ahead of us and getting water into those concentrated areas to provide us protection and also our civilians. So what we're going to do here, we've instructed our firefighters, they have smoke level at the doorknob, they're advancing in, so now they need to start cooling the structure. We're going to start up high and away with a straighter solid stream so that when it hits the wall, water will move down and control that hallway. I'll then bring the nozzle up to cool the ceiling above me, and then move over to the stairwell so I can throw cooling droplets and water up the wall there, start to reduce all the temperatures around us before we advance and not get ahead of our coverage. So pay attention to how much water moves down that hallway, cool the ceiling, and then the stairwell. We exaggerated a little bit there, but you can see how a little bit of water goes a long way. Apply water to the hallway, take that space back, pull behind us. Now I would advance into the hallway to where I could get better control of that environment. At this point, I can't get directly into the fire room, but I can start to control the heat. Again, addressing this hallway. Down and moving into a place where I can now address the room, applying that water stream high to the room of the fire, cooling that environment. And down to the couch. All right, well, the couch might be the first thing that gets ignited, or the bed, or the trash can, any one of these things that starts house fires. It typically is the last place that we apply water. All the smoke damage that's going on through the house, all the heat that's traveling around the occupancy. We as firefighters have to fight through all that heat to get to the actual flaming fire. So again, when we think about firefighting, applying water directly to flaming fire, we may have focus on that. If we have focus on that, we are missing all the other threats to our civilians and our firefighters and our property that is going on around us. So be aware of your environment, the modern fire environment, and all the fire dynamics that we are being exposed to. Thank you very much for Mendon Fire Department.